Hi, I'm Average Don here with another video about what I watched this week. Now, what I watched is The Croods. Now, what do I think about it? Well, we'll get to that in a few minutes. First, before I dive into the story and spoil it all for everyone, I want to mention my social medias. Just in case if anyone wants to reach me and wants to recommend a movie or show or comic to me, and they can do so here. On Instagram, I have at TRIPL3XXX Now that is the one I mostly use. But I also have a Twitter at Real Average John. My Facebook is at Official Average John. Now don't worry if you can't understand me. Alright, I don't know the spelling or whatever. I have everything down in the description down below. Now it's like I watched The Croods. I watched it this week. What did you guys watch? Well, what else did you guys watch? Did you guys watch The Croods or anything? Or did you guys watch something else entirely? And what did you think of it? I also watched, alongside The Croods, I watched Loki episode 3, and I watched The Croods New Age. I thought they're both fantastic. Maybe I might do a video on them someday. Who knows? Before we dive into the story, before we dive into spoilers and everything, I do want to mention the voice cast, because the voice cast is pretty good. It has Nicolas Cage, has Grug, he's the leader of the pack. He plays in Face Off, which is one of my favorite movies because it's so ridiculous and over the top. Also, Vampire's Kiss. He has a really long rant about the alphabet or filing things alphabetically. And National Treasure, where they steal the Declaration of Independence. Slight spoiler there. And you also have Ryan Reynolds, who plays Guy, voices Guy. He of course made Deadpool. Didn't make Deadpool, but he made Deadpool, He's also in Just Friends, which is, if you like romantic comedies, that's the one you gotta watch. And also Buried, which is about this dude literally buried alive. And it's fantastic. Emma Stone plays Eat, who just recently played Krilla. She's also in Easy A, Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Innocence, or Ignorance. Yeah, Ignorance. And she also played La La Land. You got Katherine Keener, who played Uga. She was in the 40-year-old version. And Get Out. She was the person that did the hypnotizing to the mom. Where the Wild Things Are as the mom. And then you got Cloris Leachman, who played Gran. She played the Frau in Young Frankenstein. She, I think, passed away actually earlier this year. So R.I.P. And you got Clark Duke, who plays Thunk. Who, of course, is the nerdy dude in Hot Tub Time Machine, the series. Kick-Ass, the series. And he plays like an intern in The Office. Alright. So, now, we're on the story. We're on the spoiler time. I recommend if you haven't watched the movie, to pause this video, watch the movie, then come back to this video. Like and subscribe and everything. Okay. So without further ado, we're getting into this. Alright, so it starts with these cave people called the Croods. The end. Says for these cave people called the Croods. Eep is their oldest daughter, who wants to grow out and travel and all that stuff. I mean, they live by themselves. They used to have neighbors called like the Gorks and Norks and Eeps, but they've all died out. So, of course, Grug just wants them to survive, so anything new and fun is dangerous to them. But they've been. The whole family is Grug. He is the leader. And Sandy, who is the youngest, also kind of like their pet dog. It's kind of weird. And you got Uga, who is the wife of Grug. And you got Zunk, who is the only boy of the group. He's also kind of dim-witted. And then you got Gran, also of course, Uga's grandmother. Or Uga's mother. But basically, like, Uga goes out first to kill something for breakfast. And Grug is like, oh, we didn't wait for the signal. And Dunk is like, I'm waiting for the signal. And Grug is like, it's too late. You can come out now. And Dunk is like, all I know is my dad. If you don't give this signal, you can be an imposter. So stuff like that happens. But Imp, of course, doesn't like the cave at all. And she hears a horn. She remembers, never not be afraid. It's just weird. But, she goes out. And she finds a new invention, a new thing called fire. And it's warm and bright and it's pretty. Of course, he wants to touch it, and then a guy in a buffalo mask, or a guy in a mask comes and scares her. So of course he fights him. He doesn't give much thing, but once he's unmasked, he's actually this dude called Guy. Amazing. But Grug is telling this story inside the cave about how this girl finds something new and completely fun, and then dies. But Guy outside the cave warns her of this apocalyptic event, the end of the world coming, and Guy's getting the heck out of there. He's going to some place called Tomorrow. So Epis is like, oh, I want to come too, but I can't because my family is staying here. So Guy's like, okay, well, here's a horn. Call me if you make it, or whatever. So, of course, he goes home with the horn. Grug is like, where were you? You slipped off like last night. She's hosting the horn. He's like, oh, it's just something new and dangerous. So he destroys it completely. Of course, that destroys any communication with Guy. How would that work? Well, it kind of works. But they're all facing something. They go off facing like piranha birds or whatever. And they try to make fire themselves, but it doesn't work. So she picks up a conch shell or whatever and blows into it really hard, and that calls Guy, who comes in to save everything and everyone. He brings fire and lowers the birds out of the way, and so the Croods, they put him in a log. Kind of kidnap him, basically, for the entirety of the trip. So, but he calls any cave people cavies. And they go on an annoying road trip to tomorrow, basically. Like the location to see the mountains are tomorrow. Tomorrow wins. So, but the guy has a sloth, actually. A sloth named Belt. The sloth hangs around his waist, keeps his pants up, basically. So he calls him Belt. And then, of course, there's this bird. Everyone sees while they're hungry, so of course everyone wants to get it. And everyone wants to kill it. So everyone goes barbaric over it, but a guy says that he has a plan, that he has a trap. So he sets him loose, completely trusting him with a trap. Which of course he does. He sets up like a little rope thing, a little lasso. And he sets down a tree and stuff. And then he draws the bird near him by portraying a big bird puppet, or whatever. Big bird puppet girl that's attracted to him. So the bird comes, he misses the trap until it's way too late. And it turns out that the bird flies way too far. The bird flies and he crashes next down on top of his stomach, who finds a dead scorpion that they all eat instead of the bird, because the bird, I think, runs away. But the guy then shows them how to make fire. Of course, the Croods are not understanding. So they investigate, and they spread the fire. They spread it across the field, and spread it across everything. And eventually, they accidentally make, the fire spreads along a cornfield, and they make popcorn accidentally. And then they also make fireworks accidentally. But of course, Greg tells another one of his stories. And you realize these stories are about events that happen in his life that really relates, like his family or whatever. Because the story is that a girl snuck out of her cave, met something new and dangerous, and died. And they all turned to Guy's story. He was like, there was once a girl snuck out of her cave every night, went closer to the edge. And every night she got closer to the edge. Until one night, she finally jumped off and flew. But, the next day, no buts. The next day, they decide to travel more. They need to travel more. And there's this field of plants that are very thorny. Then if you have bare feet, then you can't get past because it's pretty painful. Yeah. But Guy has a solution to this. He's wearing these things called shoes. And he can get past it easily. But the Croods, they're all cave people. They've never worn shoes before. So of course none of them have shoes. But Guy, he runs away at first. And he starts to feel bad. It's just like, these guys need help. These guys are going to die without my help. So He goes back, makes them all shoes to get across. There's everyone's just like, wow, guy, where'd he get all these ideas? And he just explains it. He says, like, I think I got something called a brain. And Greg is like, oh, we've gotten pretty far without brains. Thank you very much. I thought it was funny. But anyway, but they go, and there's like a little montage where it shows guys' inventions and Greg just like not wanting to use them. I mean, we got stilts. They got like a little surfing or snowboarding or whatever, mountain boarding. We got an umbrella. We got swimming. And we got jokes. Now, they eventually come across this labyrinth. And guys they all split up to get through it faster. And they all get horns so they can call each other. Now, Greg doesn't like it, but they all fall in. They all fall into the labyrinth, so it's do or die. Now, Greg's going in circles. Sunk finds a dog, calls him Douglas. And they all eventually get out, except for Greg. And they all go back in to get Greg and get out. Now, that night, there's no sleep pile, which is when they all sleep in a pile. There's no story from Greg. I mean, but there's no need to, because Guy shows the Croods the stars. And everyone except for Greg. Greg kind of hangs back. Greg overhears what they're saying. They're saying Greg has no ideas of his own. In fact, if he had an idea of his own, Gran would get a heart attack and die. That's what she said, her words, not mine. And then Greg is like, wait, I have ideas. And the next day they all wake up and Greg is wearing a what he calls a rug on his head. He shows them all what he's made during the night. Made a snapshot, which is basically just a rock pummeling a face full of like flowers to leave residue. Ride, which is basically an animal. Shades, which are just rocks shaped like sunglasses, so you can't really see out of them. And Lifterator, which is basically just a sing-shot. Now, they all kind of get upset. They're like, Greg, why are you doing this? And he's just like, we need to survive. We need to live. Or whatever. And he puts just like, what we're doing back in the cave wasn't living. It was just not dying. So then they all had their problems. They all venture on. And somehow Guy and Greg get stuck in tar. Now Guy's like, I know about all this. My family, they sunk in tar. But Guy and Greg, they have an idea. Well, Guy has the idea, but he decides to do what they did with the bird. They make a female saber cat puppet to attract the saber cat. The saber cat goes to them, and First, it tries to attack them, and he ends up pulling them out of the tar, which is what Guy wanted. And eventually, they're almost due tomorrow. But it's just them tomorrow doing them a giant, huge crack. There's no way, there's no trees or anything. I go across, there's nothing. So then Greg kind of is just like, wait a minute, I can throw you all across. So he does that. How does he get across? He doesn't. At least yet, anyway. But for like a day or so, Greg is surviving on his own. He draws a family portrait. He makes friends with the saber cat, and all of a sudden, Greg has an idea. But Grin is still okay though. She doesn't have a heart attack, actually. That was a figure of speech. But Greg has an idea. So he lures the piranha birds to a rib cage that he found, which him and the saber cat get in. So the piranha birds, they lift him up and fly him. And while flying, Greg saves a lot of animals, including Douglas the dog and the mouse elephants that they saw earlier, and all these other animals. Now the Croods don't think that Greg made it at all, so they're mourning Greg. But of course, he makes the birds there lashed onto the ribcage there, flying the ribcage over the crack. I don't know how they drove that, but you don't need to. It's a movie. It's a kid's movie, or whatever. But it's really good, because of course they all like Greg now. And Greg had an idea, so yay. They all make it to this wondrous place called Tomorrow. It's a beautiful, sunny place. It's full of vegetation, full of all this wondrous stuff. And I keep falling in light, and the sloth, he ends it by saying dun dun dun. It's kind of a joke throughout where he says dun dun dun. But that's the movie. Again, I'll reiterate. Spoilers in here, yeah. I'll reiterate, what did you guys think of the movie? Was it something that you liked? I really love this movie. I wasn't expecting to. I didn't see it when it came out. I saw it on Voodoo like last week. But I absolutely love it. And I actually didn't know that Ryan Reynolds was in it. I know by I must know Nicolas Cage. That was advertised, I think. I'm trying to remember back to like 2012 when it came out. Like I said, I didn't watch it when it came out. I don't know what the reason was. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe and all that stuff. If you want to talk to me, you can do it on here in the comments. Or you can hit me up on social media, my Instagram. Of course, the reset is at TRIPL3XXX My Twitter is at RealAverageJohn. My Facebook is at OfficialAverageJohn. Don't worry if you can't understand it, it's all in the description down below. So I will see you all later. I don't know why I'm doing that. I have to stop it like this. Alright, see you later.